Good morning Year 2, welcome to today's maths lesson. You are going to write your date and your skill in your catch-up book first of all today. Can you please write Wednesday the 13th of January 2021, and your skill is present multiplication number sentences as arrays. So can you pause the video to complete that now please? Okay, we're going to start today's lesson then by recapping our knowledge of arrays from yesterday. Sam used his star counters to make an array. This is his array here that he has made. He says, my array shows 2 lots of 7. And I want you to have a look at this array and I would like you to think, do you agree with Sam? Does it show 2 lots of 7? Or do you disagree? And if you do disagree, why do you disagree? So pause the video and have a look now. Okay, here's wrong. This array does not show 2 lots of 7. This array shows 2 lots of 8. So it's really important then, let's have a look at what it should look like. 2 lots of 7 should look like this. We've got 7 columns and we've got 2 rows there. Those 2 groups of 7. Really important then that we check our arrays once we have drawn them or made them to make sure that we have solved the multiplication number sentence correctly. If we counted the first array, the answer would have been 16 because 2 lots of 8 is 16. And actually the answer to 2 lots of 7, as we will see by counting this array, 2 lots of 7 equals 14. So that shows it's really important once we've drawn it that we must go back and check our answers. Let's start today's lesson then. You did such a good job making arrays using your resources yesterday, well done. Now today we are going to move on to drawing arrays to solve multiplication number sentences instead. So the first thing I'd like you to do is I would like you to describe in your own words what an array is. So what is an array? What does it look like? Why is it used? And I would like you to pause the video and discuss this question now, please. We've learned that an array is a representation of a multiplication number sentence. We arrange the items or dots into rows and columns. Each row must contain the same number of objects as the other rows, and each column must contain the same number of objects as the other columns. They must be equal within the rows and columns. As we discussed yesterday then, we can use arrays to solve multiplication number sentences to find the answer. If we have a look at this example, we've got 8 times 2. I would like you to count the dots to find the answer to 8 times 2. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, if we count the dots together then, we will find the answer. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So the answer to 8 times 2 is 16. It's really important we don't count the same dot twice and that we don't miss any dots when we're counting as well. Using this information then we can see a lovely example for 8 times 2. I would now like you to write 6 times 2 into your catch-up book, and I would like you to, underneath that number sentence, draw the array for 6 times 2. So think about how many rows and how many columns your array will need. Use the example as well as a big hint in the example. And then once you have drawn your array, I would like you to count all of the dots together and then write your answer, the total, at the end of the number sentence. Can you pause the video and do that now, please? Okay, the answer to 6 times 2 equals 12. So give yourself a tick if you have got 6 times 2 equals 12. Going to have a look at another example now. We're going to move on to the 5 times tables. This one then shows 6 times 5, and we've got the array that shows 6 times 5. I would like you to pause the video and find the answer by counting all of the dots. Off you go. Okay, let's count together then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. So the answer to 6 times 5 is 30. Using that information, what would the array be for 8 times 5 equals? Write the 8 times 5 equals into your catch-up book. Underneath, I'd like you to draw the array for that number sentence. Once you've drawn the array, count all of the dots to find your answer and make sure you write your answer at the end of the number sentence as well, please. So pause the video and have a go at that now, please. Okay, well done. You should have found that 8 times 5 equals 40. So give yourself a tick if you've got the answer as 40. We're going to look at our last example now. This one is the 10 times tables. We've got 4 times 10, so I would like you to find the answer to 4 times 10 equals now. Pause the video and count the dots for me, please. Okay, 4 times 10 equals 40. Using that example then, just as we have for the other times tables, the 2 times tables and the 5 times tables, I would like you to use this information to solve 5 times 10 now. So write 5 times 10 into your catch-up book, underneath draw your array. Once you've drawn your array, count all of the dots to find the total and write the answer at the end of your number sentence. So can you pause the video and solve 5 times 10 equals now, please? Well done if you got the answer 50. 5 times 10 equals 50. Okay, we're going to apply our knowledge of arrays now. Which array matches 5 times 5? So you're going to have 3 options, and I want you to have a look at each option and which one shows 5 times 5. And how do you know? So this is option 1, this is option 2, this is option 3. Which one shows 5 times 5? So pause the video and have a long look at each one, count really carefully which one matches 5 times 5. Well done, it's this last one here. So we've got 5 rows, 5 columns, and that shows 5 lots of 5. Now then, I would like you to count to find out the answer to 5 times 5. Pause the video and find the answer. Well done, 5 times 5 equals 25. Time for our guided practice now. I would like you to write 7 times 5 into your catch-up book. You're going to look really carefully at this number sentence and how many rows and columns will you need for 7 times 5. Underneath your number sentence, draw your array. Make sure your dots do not overlap and are in neat columns and rows. Once you've drawn your array, you need to remember to count your array carefully and write your answer at the end of the number sentence. It's really important you remember that step. So I'm going to show you a hint now. If you don't need a hint and you want to have a go on your own using your knowledge of arrays, then pause the video now. If you would like to see the hint, then I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, this is the hint then. We have got 7 lots of 5. So you can use this, you could use this as your template to start drawing your array into your catch-up book. Top tip then, draw the dots, you can see them really clearly. It's really important that they are a clear size because this will help you count your array, all of the dots in your array at the end to find the answer. Can you pause the video and complete 7 times 5, please? Okay, so the answer to 7 times 5, we can also check with our counting in 5. So we do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So the answer to 7 times 5 equals 35. Give yourself a tick if you've got that answer, please. We're going to move on to our independent practice now. Your task today, you are going to solve the multiplication number sentences by drawing your own arrays, just as we've had a go, have a little practice there in our guided practice. And these are your steps to success. First of all, write the multiplication number sentence into your book. Look carefully at the numbers to see how many rows and columns your array should have. So we need to look carefully at the number sentence you are working on. Then you are going to draw your array neatly using straight rows and columns and count the total number of dots in your array. Last of all then, you are going to write the answer at the end of your number sentence. Our top tip then, make sure you draw your dots a really clear size. This will really help you when you count your array at the end. If they're really small, they're going to be really difficult to see and you might not get the right answer for your number sentence. Okay. Here are your questions. So you are going to choose your challenge. You've got cool, mild, spicy and hot. I'd like you to choose the challenge that you would like to work on today. You can pause the video and you can work off of this slide, so the questions on this slide, or on the school's website underneath this video is the PDF document with these questions in that you might like to print off if you want to tick them off as you're going to show that you've done them. Okay? Here is also a Waggle, so we have got what a good one looks like. As you can see, I've got my number sentence, I've drawn my array nice and neatly, I've checked to double check that it's actually the right array and we've got the right number of rows and columns, and then I have remembered to write my answer at the end. If you are needing some square paper, there is also a template of square paper on the website as well to make sure your rows and columns of your array are nice and neat. And you pause the video and complete your independent practice, and then unpause when you're ready. Okay, challenge time then. I'd like you to investigate whether it matters which way around the numbers go in a multiplication number sentence. So if we have 2 times 3 and 3 times 2, does it matter if we've swapped them around? Does it change the answer? Can you pause the video and investigate this now? From your investigation, you will see that we can swap the numbers around when multiplying and we can still get the same answer. This is because multiplication is commutative. This means changing the order of the numbers you are multiplying does not change the answer. For example, if we're solving 3 times 4 and 4 times 3, the numbers have been swapped around, but the answer is 12 for both. And we're going to explore this more in the next lesson, in tomorrow's lesson. Our final thought then. Part of this array has been hidden. The total is less than 16. What could this array be? What would this array look like if the total is less than 16? I would like you to pause the video in a moment, and you are going to use your printed counters or draw the different options of what this array could look like for the answer to be less than 16. Can you pause the video now, please, and unpause when you're ready to look at what it could look like? Okay, we could have 4 times 2, 5 times 2, 6 times 2, and 7 times 2. This is because 4 times 2 equals 8, 5 times 2 equals 10, 6 times 2 equals 12, 7 times 2 equals 14. Thinking about that then, the fact that these answers are less than 16, why could we not have 8 times 2? Why would this array not be 8 times 2? I want you to pause the video and think about this. You might like to draw the array for 8 times 2 or make the array for 8 times 2 to work this out and to help you solve this question. Pause the video, please. Okay, we should be able to see then that 8 times 2 equals 16, which is not less than 16, which is why this array would not be 8 lots of 2. Well done, you've worked really hard today, Year 2. Bye-bye.